Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brooke Audino, and today I'm going to be talking about something a little more serious than my normal makeup videos. So about 2 years ago, I was in a relationship with a boy, and he really was the person who made me feel the very best in my life at that time. And granted, I was a senior in high school, but he truly made me happy. And I was a competitive cheerleader at the time, and everything I did was either him or competitive cheerleading, and it got to the point where he became jealous of me cheering, and I started distancing myself from my team and my family, and I didn't mean to, and I thought about it and I thought about it, and my parents were like, "Brooke, maybe he's being abusive towards you," and I said, "There's no way." So I ended up going to prom with him, and we both ended up graduating, and I'm in every single one of his graduating pictures. And time moves forward, and I start going to college about 30 minutes from home, and he goes to a college 4 hours away, which I'm perfectly fine with. Like, inside, I'm like, I miss him, but on the outside, I'm saying, this is a good opportunity for him. He's going for something he wants to do. And time moves forward, and he decides he wants to come and be with me. And at the time, I thought, this is great and all, but you have to switch your major. So he ended up switching his major to my major, which is graphic design. And our program is so small at our school that everyone knows each other, so everyone knew that he was coming because I told them. And my parents asked me again, is he being abusive? And I said no. But then after orientation weekend, I started becoming friends with one of my orientation leaders, who was a male, and ex-boyfriend at the time started telling me, you can't see him. I don't want you around him. I don't trust him. And it still didn't click to me. And then time went on, and I started having to leave my friends. I was on the cheer team at school, and he told me it's him or cheerleading. And I didn't want to lose him, so I quit the cheer team. And he did the same thing with me on dance team, which I was on the dance team too at school, and he said, it's me or dance team, and I quit. I left everything to be with him. And then the semester was over, it was Christmas break, and I started working at my own business at my house, and he came over all the time to check in on me. And he would make sure I would be doing things, and I would always tell him what I'm doing, and I never had time to just be me, but I still didn't see that he was being abusive. So Christmas break's over, and we're moving back in, and this is when things started clicking in my mind. When we were moving in, I had to switch rooms from my one room to my new room because I had issues with my roommate because of him. But I switched my room, and I went over to this new room, and I really just didn't have time to move my things in. I put all my stuff in this big crate, and I moved it over to my room, and he said, we have to go set up my room now. And I said, I can't do this. I need to go put my room together because my roommate's gonna be here. And he said, I don't care. And I did as he wanted because I didn't want him to be upset. I didn't want him to go into a fit of suicidal depression or something. So I said, okay. And I followed him to his room, and I helped set up everything in his room. And then finally, after we ate lunch, my roommate showed up, and there's just this huge mess in the room, and I've only been with her for like 5 minutes at the time, and I feel so bad. It didn't click to me there. Well, it came down to about February 2015 where I started realizing it started clicking. The gears in my head were turning again, and I was feeling like my own person. And I felt it. I knew something was wrong, and him and I got in a fight once, and he grabbed my wrists And I told him, "Are you thinking right now?" And he said yes. When I knew the answer was no, I told him he was being abusive and he needs to think about his actions, and nothing clicked with him. For the longest time, I thought to myself, I can help him change. I can be the one who helps him change. And I couldn't. And I think that's the thing that hurt the most. So we went on fighting for months, and I didn't end things until I absolutely had to. It became March of 2015 when I finally had enough. And this is why I had enough. The night before I broke up with him, my roommate had a boy in the room, which was no big deal, but I was a little bit tired. And my ex had to come up and tuck me into bed every single night to make sure he was the last male I saw before bed. Well, he didn't like that this other boy was in the room, so he came up and barged into the room and sat there while I just cried and told him to leave. And I cried and cried and cried, and he just didn't listen to me. It was the next day, and I was getting ready in the morning. My roommate had a class before me, and I was getting ready for my 9:30. It is 9:20, and he comes in my room and says, "We need to talk." And I tell him, "No, I have no time to talk." So he grabs my wrists again. He said, "You will talk to me." And I said, "No, I don't have time for this." I was like, "I'm breaking up with you." And I finally said it, and I was done. That was it. That's all it took for me. He told me no. No? How do you say no to someone breaking up with you? He said, "You're not allowed to leave this room until you aren't breaking up with me." And I said, "I'm leaving." And he said, "No, you're not." And I said, "Fine, I'm not breaking up with you." And he said, "You're gonna go do it when you go to class, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Fine, I'm gonna go kill myself." And walked away. And I left my room. I went to class. And he kept texting me saying, "We're not broken up. We didn't break up." And I told my friends what was going on. And they told me, "You deserve to leave him. You don't deserve this, and you should be your own person." And I just felt so relieved but scared at the same time to be around this person. So after him and I break up, I decided that, you know what? I need to move on. And honestly, at first I was thinking somewhere in the point of revenge. And then I'm thinking to myself, that's not what I want to do in this life. So I started connecting back with old friends that I had before this whole situation. And I talked to my orientation leader, who was such a good friend of mine. And he asked me on a date. We did go on the date. And from that point forward, he made sure I was safe and made sure I was okay at all times. And I'm proud to call that orientation leader my boyfriend now. And he just really makes sure that everything I do, I'm safe and I feel loved, and I'm not controlled in any way. But I'm not here to tell you a happy love story ending. I'm here to warn people about what happens after the abuse, after the relationship's over. What happens after is the worst experience. When you leave someone and start over with someone new, anytime a hand touches you, anytime a hand's on you differently, anytime they put their hand, your new person, someone new puts their hands where someone abused you put them, anytime you go back to that, fear goes into you and you remember what happened. It's like PTSD, where there's no way out of it. And the only way to get through it is for the new person to help you through it. And I commend my boyfriend now so much for all he does for me and how much he helps me through everything. And he doesn't even know how much I struggle on a daily basis with getting through some of these things. And he just does so much to make sure I'm okay and I'm happy and I'm free. And I guess the moral of the story is that if you ever are told by someone that your significant other is being abusive, listen to them. because you could have avoided everything that I went through. You don't need to be hit. You don't need to be belittled. You don't need to quit things that you love for them. If someone loves you, they will accept you for who you are. I just feel like it needed to be said for any of the young girls out there that are watching who think it's okay to be submissive. I'm sure it is to a point, but abuse isn't okay. Abuse is still abuse. Control is abuse. If you're in an abusive relationship now, leave. Get out of it as soon as you can, because the later you wait, the more PTSD you're going to experience in your next relationship. And I promise you, it isn't pretty. It isn't fun. I still struggle with it. I have been apart from my abuser for a year now, and I still have doubts in my stomach where my boyfriend now will do something and it makes me nervous, and I don't like talking about it because it just hurts to bring up these old memories. And so all in all, I just want to say, don't let yourself get in the same situation that I did. But thank you for watching this video. Try to look out for others and make sure that they're alright too. Bye guys.